G'day guys, Nate here coming at you with the round 12 preview of Collingwood's clash against the Western Bulldogs Saturday night at Marvel Stadium, 7:35 p.m. start. Standalone Saturday night game. It's the first of 5 weeks of the buys staggered here, so get used to it. It's a massive game here. It's ninth v 10th. It's technically an 8-point game early on. Ramifications for both sides. They win, they're closer to the top six. They lose, they're outside the top 10. They're looking upwards to the wildcard purgatory spot. Yeah, big game for both clubs. Just before I get into the actual preview, timestamps in this video, as always, just some housekeeping regarding the channel for the next 24, 48 hours. Slight change up to my uploads tomorrow night. I'm going to record my thoughts on our mid-season draftees. So, congratulations to Harrison Coe from the Frankston Dolphins, Liam Puncher from Sandford, or Woodville West Torrens Eagles, had to be exact there, and Mitch Podachski, MPod, the podiatrist from the Coburg Lions in the VFL. Uh, what we needed for the mid-season draft. I'll make a video on this tomorrow and just explain my thoughts on what this means for Collingwood's list and our push for 2026 and possibly beyond. So that's watch this space. Team selections, final word video will be up on Friday instead. So it gives me a bit of time to collect my thoughts this time around. I'm not too sure how it's going to go in regards to the algorithm and if you guys watch it or not. If you don't, it's fair enough. I'll change it up going forward. So just a one-off sort of change up here for next 24, 48 hours. It's also a good time to plug my Instagram as well because I post my thoughts and also preview technically the mid-season draft. We got what we needed from my thoughts and opinions and whatnot, and my thoughts on the draftees to be exact. We got a ruck, we got a key defender, a rebound defender at times, and also a mid to tall forward in Mitch Podachski. So we've got what we needed, and we'll look to push on in 2026. I don't expect each of the mid-season draftees to debut this week against the Bulldogs, and I don't expect it to occur next week for King's birthday. It would be a massive call, but that's all I watch this space. So again, my thoughts on the mid-season draftees, that video will be up on Thursday night, tomorrow night, and the team selections final word video will be up on Friday night. No VFL reports on Saturday, just a little segue as well. The VFL, VFLW, they're both taking place at Whitten Oval. 11:05 a.m. start, or 11:05, 11:35 a.m. I have to double check that for the VFLW. Pies against the Bulldogs. And 3:05 p.m. we take on the Footscray Bulldogs. I don't get why it's the Western Bulldogs for the VFLW and AFL, but Footscray Bulldogs for the VFL. But it is what it is. Footscray Bulldogs. I've got the Western Bulldogs logo because I can't be fucked putting the Footscray logo in there. But the VFL, 3:05 p.m. Whitten Oval. I will be there. It's a stone's throw away from where I live. But I'll shave my head on Saturday and then I'll head over to Whitten Oval. Hopefully I get there in time for the VFLW. Then I'll stay there until 6 o'clock once the VFL is done. And I won't be at Marvel Stadium, but I will record the round 12 review on Sunday, maybe join fan cams or two, but that's all watch this space. Timestamps, cheap plugs, everything out of the way. Let's get into this round 12 preview. So I said a little bit earlier, 9th v 10th, Bulldogs in 9th spot. They're coming off a 3-point win over Melbourne. Collingwood, 5 wins, 5 losses, and a draw in 10th spot. We are the definition of mid right now, coming off a 10-point win over West Coast. We're finally moving on from the Scott Pendlebury celebrations, and we're still going to celebrate Scott Pendlebury in style for 2026 and beyond. Game 434, no one's ever done that as well. So these records keep bragging for Scott Pendlebury and Collingwood, so we'll hope to put on a celebration for Scott Pendlebury here. But this is, in my opinion, an 8-point game. We're going to know for sure what the real Collingwood stands for here. We beat the Bulldogs here. They'll fall out of the top 10, and we still haven't got a top 10 or top 6 scalp just yet, but we need these wins, all right? We are heading to the bye in 2 weeks' time. My predictions for the next fortnight is we get one more win, so 6 wins, 6 losses, and a draw. Hopefully not a second draw before the bye, but a win and a draw in the next 2 games, I would take that. But I expect us to still be in 7th to 10th spot, even with 2 wins, or 1 win and 1 loss. We lose the next 2, we're out of the top 10. We are looking upwards with a bit of work to do after the bye. A decent fixture. Port Adelaide, Richmond, both at the MCG. Gold Coast up there, a bit tricky. North Melbourne on a Friday night at Marvel. You never know what you're going to get with North Melbourne. They love to play against us, even though we haven't lost to them since 2019. So this game against the Western Bulldogs, it stands as an 8-point game. We can look back on some of our losses so far this year. Thumped against Brisbane. Losing the way we did against Adelaide, looking back in hindsight to that. Losing the Freo, losing to Sydney the way we did by a goal, having led for the majority of the game, and drawing against Hawthorn. Little things like that. they pile up. It's not a matter of Pendlebury being managed in the last few weeks and whatnot. It's more so how we manage the final quarter in some of these games and these losses. Grateful for some of these wins, but we are looking to push forward and cannot stress enough the importance of a win Saturday night, Marvel Stadium against the Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs started this season like a house on fire. 4 wins to start their season. Big scalps, Brisbane at the Gabba. They thumped the Giants. They beat Adelaide in Adelaide. But ever since halfway through the second quarter against the Bombers, it's been all downhill. They've had quite a few injuries. That's fair enough. That's a valid excuse. Not really an excuse, it's a valid reason after all. But their form has been very shaky ever since Sam Darcy's gone down with that ACL injury, season ending injury. Their forward line hasn't been as potent. Their midfield as well has not been potent. And their back line is prone to being exposed yet again. So this game against the Bulldogs, big opportunity for Collingwood's forward line, the inexperience and whatnot, fair enough. But it's a big chance for us to get Bulldogs back line here, try and get on top with our forward line. The midfield battle is going to be massive. I'll talk about this in the keys of victory and also the compare the pair. But this Bulldogs side, they look vulnerable, but this will be such a typical game where it won't be close. It's going to be 5+ goals either way. That's my bold call. I'll say that. Not final word, but a bold call, a blanket statement. The result of this game on Saturday night will be a 5+ goal win. Something unexpected. It looks on paper to be a close one, but I don't think it's going to be the case at all. But the Bulldogs in their last 2 wins, 2 points over Port Adelaide. They scrambled for that point with 30 seconds to go. And with 30 seconds left last week against Melbourne, that drop mark, that was contentious, should have been a mark, in my opinion. But the Bulldogs, they played very well. They stood tall and they were able to get Melbourne in that, well, not final quarter, but to hold on against Melbourne. But the Bulldogs, their last 2 wins, close ones with seconds left, they are due for that massive comeback performance and to dominate yet again. And hopefully it's not against us. So we've got to be wary of that. A few things to improve on for Collingwood, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. Just in regards to selection speculation, and thankfully I'll do the team selections final word video up on Friday. Few injuries, at least 3 changes. Jamie Elliott out for the season. Darcy Moore, no timeline on his return, but I am expecting he'll return late June, early July. And Will Hayes out for 5 to 6 weeks with that dislocated shoulder, already in rehab. Perryman and Cochrane all making progressions. I don't expect Perryman to return for King's birthday. I think just keep him on ice until after the bye, just to be safe. You don't want to reactivate the hamstring, even though we need Perryman. He is a Mr. Fix-It for us. And I love Perryman in the midfield or up forward for us right now, but not to be. And Elliott, Steen, McInnes all out for the season with their knee injuries. We've got a bit of injury concerns still, not our best side still, and at least 3 changes. One of Jack Buller or Tim Membry. I don't expect both to come in for the Bulldogs game. Most likely leaning towards Jack Buller for his 3 goals. I don't want to see Buller, McStay, or Ned Long in the ruck, even though Harrison Coe will not play against the Bulldogs here. But one more time, McStay in the ruck, and then just move on from that. Let's go in with a second proper backup ruckman in Harrison Coe and go from there. The Bulldogs, still going to find out their injury list. Tim English is still 50-50 from concussion protocols. So that's a massive point of difference there if Tim English returns or not. If he doesn't, then it's a big opportunity for Darcy Cameron to get on top in the ruck. I also expect Angus Anderson to return. He was a carryover emergency last week to replace Will Hayes. And whoever replaces Darcy Moore, whether we move the magnets and bring in someone like a Harvey Harrison or I was going to say Lockie Sullivan, but not to be. Definitely not. Maybe Will Parker. He seems to be the safe option. Maybe you debut someone like a Swaddling. I don't know. It's all to watch this space. The only person in the VFL who put their hand up for selection, if anything, was Jack Buller. But when you get thumped against Werribee by half time, it's not a good look for us. So performances in the VFL need a lift. Jack Buller, the most obvious to return. Angus Anderson, carryover emergency, and who knows who the third replacement will be. I don't want to drop Ned Long. I know him up forward hasn't exactly lit the world on fire or moved the needle and whatnot. But in the midfield, as that extractor, particularly against the Bulldogs side in their midfield, we need someone like Ned Long to keep the Bulldogs accountable. And for Ned Long to not concede so many free kicks in the middle, we'll wait and see on that. I don't want to drop Ned Long. I think 3 changes, being forced for 3 changes will be enough for us. But just with comparing the pair here, what sticks out for me for the Bulldogs is their clearance work. They're not as lethal or as potent compared to last season. 14 wins last year, unlucky to miss finals from the top 8, finishing in 9th spot. They haven't been the same since Sam Darcy went down, and with their continuous or their ongoing injury list as well, it's a valid reason for why they've dropped off. but they're still top four for clearances. Last year, they would just destroy teams out of the middle. But I mentioned the midfield here for the Bulldogs because even though they're in ninth spot right now, outside the top eight, still in that wildcard purgatory like us, they've still got one of, if not the best midfield groups in the competition. Looking at their performances against Melbourne on Sunday last week, Bontempelli, 29 disposals, 2 goals. Ed Richards, 30 disposals, 3 goals, 10 clearances. Riley Sanders getting more midfield minutes finally, dominating as well. Unfortunate for us, we're coming up against an informed Sanders. Matt Kennedy, consistent as well in the midfield, 20 plus disposals each time. Someone like Joel Frazier, out of form, but you can't forget about someone like Joel Frazier. And we also can't forget about someone like Adam Treloar. If he's fit and firing, he's got one last good game in him. Better not be against us. And also Tim English in the ruck. Massive point of difference if he's playing or not. But the Bulldogs, top four in clearance work. Their pressure around the ground, just as good as ours. But for us, the back line is our key strength here. It's going to be massive, the point of difference, our back line compared to the Bulldogs forward line, and also vice versa, the Bulldogs back line against our forward line. Darcy Moore out again, perhaps works out for us weirdly enough. They haven't been as lethal on the scoreboard since round one against the Giants, so big chance for us to make this a scrap in terms of the scoreboard. Maybe something like a 78 to 63 sort of scoreline for us to win. It's going to be reliant on our forward 50 pressure compared to the Bulldogs and their pressure around the ground. Quite a few fluctuations and differentials with the stats and the key metrics here. But when you combine it all together, it's got all the recipes for a 9th v 10th game. It's an 8-point game. It's almost a play-in game in round 12, but big game for both of us to get on top and just get ourselves some breathing space. 7-5 for the Bulldogs, hopefully not the case. For us, 6 wins, 5 losses, and a draw. But just with the recent history against the Bulldogs, we do lead the overall head-to-head at Marvel Stadium, 14 wins, 10 losses. We are 61 wins, 43 losses at Marvel Stadium. We are on a 5-game winning streak at Marvel Stadium. The last time we lost at Marvel Stadium was ironically against the Bulldogs, 2024. The Bulldogs, I've mentioned this stat, bit of a fun fact. Quarter by quarter rankings for the Bulldogs. They're 8 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses in the first quarters. They rank third in competition for first quarter performances. They're 11th for second quarter performances, 5 wins, 6 losses. 13th in third quarters, 4 wins, 7 losses, and 16th in final quarters, 3 wins, 8 losses. So they taper off quarter by quarter, and that's a big chance for us. We haven't performed or lit the world on fire in final quarters besides Essendon and Carlton, so a big chance for us to run out the game and get on top in the end against the Bulldogs here. And the last time we met the Bulldogs, we won by 6 points in the Bulldogs 100-year anniversary game. 10-16-76 to the Bulldogs, 10-10-70. And I still vividly remember that game against the Bulldogs because similar to our loss against the Brisbane Lions in 2021, Zach Bailey kicking that goal after the siren, where had we beaten the Brisbane Lions back then, it would have changed our trajectory in 2021, I reckon. Had we lost against the Bulldogs last year by 6 points, I think our trajectory would have been a whole lot worse. I don't think we would have made top four. We may have missed finals altogether. Just the little things like that, the point of difference games for me that stick out in terms of how we set up the season. For us right now, it's our losses against Freo, Sydney, the draw against Hawthorn. Little things like that that are sticking out. We need that point of difference win. I understand we beat Carlton 3 goals down at 3/4 time to win by 5 points. Little things like that, I know, but a performance and a win like this again against the Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium, to wake up on Sunday morning inside the top 10 still, looking inwards closer to the top 6 before our bye and King's birthday clash, it's going to go a long way. So this, again, once again, an 8-point game. But the keys to victory for me in this game, the first key to victory, Nick Dacos, Marcus Bontempelli in the midfield, 2 of the best midfielders in the competition right now. 2024, they both had tremendous performances. Bontempelli didn't play last year against us with that calf injury. Nick Dacos was able to. He had a massive final quarter against the Bulldogs. Big difference, or big reason why we won. So this matchup here, I'm looking forward to it. I'm expecting a tag for Nick Dacos. I'm also expecting us to play a run with role on Bontempelli. It's not going to work, but we'll do our best, and we've got to look out for the Bulldogs midfield overall. The second key to victory for me is to get on top of the Bulldogs backline. Again, this is a Bulldogs backline that we can get on top of. Charlie West didn't have a good game against the Eagles, fair enough, but a massive game if he's playing to get on top of someone like Jed Buslinger. If Tim English is playing, maybe Rory Lopp goes down back yet again. they are conceding higher scores, the Bulldogs, and it was the reason why they missed finals last year. 14 wins and 9 losses, but the way they lost and the higher scores they conceded, it goes a long way. So big chance for us to get a decent score. We are capable of doing this. It's just, can we do this against the Bulldogs? And with our forward line, inexperience against the back line of the Bulldogs, yet to be seen. The third key to victory, and it's an annoyance from me for Collingwood, but we need to stop this right now, is we need to stop allowing the opposition to kick quick responses. So we'll work our asses off for 5 to 10 minutes, get that goal. We'll pepper some goals here and there, but it's 7, 8, 9 point plays. We set up well defensively. We finally get that goal, and then the centre clearance goes the opposition way, and they get the goal, the quick response. The biggest one that stood out for me was against Geelong in the second quarter. Pendlebury kicks that goal. 5 to 10 minutes of hard work, and then Geelong get that quick response. Reece Stanley hack kick the Dangerfield, and Dangerfield goes to Jack Martin inside 50. Rest is history. Against the Eagles, first quarter, we were peppering it. Roan Steele kicks that goal, our second goal, and the Eagles were able to get that quick response. Just a couple of minutes later, but Bailey Williams missing that set shot, and then a minute later kicking that goal. Again, just got to work on that. The Bulldogs in their midfield, we can't take them lightly, and they're absolutely capable of killing us in the midfield and also winning the game from the midfield alone. So for us, and a soccer analogy, you're most vulnerable after kicking a goal. So for us, we kick that goal, we work our asses off, but we have to work twice as hard to make sure we stem any momentum and any momentum swings and pendulum swings and whatnot. So for us, it will likely happen. We work our asses off for 5 to 10 minutes under a roof, kick that goal. Got to set up at centre clearances and in the back line as well. Don't allow the Bulldogs to get quick responses out of the midfield. And the final key to victory for me is, quote, you're only as good as your bottom 6 players. I'm sure I've mentioned this earlier this year. I've definitely mentioned it last year, but against the Bulldogs and for us as well. Our bottom 6 players against the Bulldogs and their bottom 6 players. Whoever's the best performing bottom 6 players, I don't have a list of who it is for us or for the Bulldogs. I'll likely mention this in the team selections final word video. I'll identify them, my opinion, and then I'll see who performs better out of each batch of bottom 6 players, who stands out, who doesn't stand out, and see if that's the difference or the reason for each team winning. But I'll wrap up this video here. Again, team selections final word video will be up on Friday afternoon or Friday night. My thoughts on the mid-season draftees will be up on Thursday night, so don't feel bait and switched on this one or don't feel cheated. Just a bit of a heads up there. Again, follow me on Instagram just for any updates and whatnot. Maybe I should be posting on YouTube some updates. But so long as you guys are kept up to date on my uploads and whatnot, just a bit of a change up here. Maybe a change up next week because we are playing on a Monday for King's birthday, but I'll figure that out next week. But that's all for this video. I'll leave you guys all to it. Hoping you guys have had a good week so far. Please be well, please be safe, and I'll see you guys Thursday night for my thoughts on the mid-season draftees. Up the pies.